Hi, I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Hi, I'm John.
Hey, John. What brings you in today?
Um, Maybe about 6 months ago, I really hurt my back playing football. I'm in a football league in my town. Um, it was really bad. I had to get emergency surgery and everything like that. My spinal cord almost
Wow.
severed in half. Yeah, it was really
Sounds
bad.
really painful.
So, after the surgery, my doctor prescribed me painkillers. And once that started, I haven't really been able to stop using them. So, and now it's gotten to a point where, I'm pretty much flunking out of college, at the moment, just because, all I, all I can think about is just getting high and sleeping and not doing anything.
Where are you in college? What are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for exercise and physiology.
Really? That's cool. What do you plan to do with that?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really know what I wanted to do for a while, and I just kind of chose that because I'm really into sports and fitness, so I just thought that would be the best thing. I don't know. Maybe I'll coach a football team someday, or.
Sounds like that must be, well, it sounds fun, first of all, but it sounds like it must be really tough for you since you injured your back.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine that, that's such a central part of your life, and that's what you're studying, and, you mentioned being on a football team, that injuring your back so much, and then, ending up needing to use painkillers would be probably a pretty big blow. How was that for you? How has it been, coming back from that? You think you're fully recovered, or?
No, I mean, I'm just like I said, I pretty much finals are coming up, and I'm not prepared. If I don't do well on these finals, I'm pretty much I pretty much fail the whole semester. Anytime I don't take a pill in the morning, I just feel totally I can't function. I feel like my brain just isn't working, and I feel like I can't move, and so I mean, yeah, I'm recovered, I can walk and stuff. I can't play football just yet, which really sucks.
I can
And I'm still
imagine that's tough.
yeah, so I really haven't been doing much. Football is the only thing I ever felt good at, and the fact I can't do it right now, it really sucks. And then I feel like, if anything, that just makes me want to use more, so that I don't, I just don't want to think about it, because if I think about it, it just drives me crazy.
Okay, so let's look at that a little bit more. So you said when you had the injury, you got prescribed painkillers, and can you remember a moment or a point at which it turned from using them for pain into using them to control pain to kind of using them for other reasons? Can you talk about that, transition a little bit?
Yeah, well, because I've always struggled in school. I was diagnosed with ADD when I was younger, and dyslexia, so I always had a really hard time in school. And my dad's the CEO of some big company in the Midwest. He and my parents divorced a while ago. He's the CEO of some company out in Kentucky or whatever. And uh, and my mom, she's a research scientist. I don't even know what she does. She does something with science, but they make a lot of money, and they were really smart. And I never did well in school, so I feel like that was always an issue for them. I feel like they always wanted, you know, someone who would just get straight A's, and because my sister does, and I feel like I could never get their approval. And then, and when I got into college, that was good, but it's
Yeah,
I
sounds
barely got in.
It's a lot of pressure for you, do you think?
Yeah, it's the pressure. And when I was taking those painkillers, it just they just helped me. They took away the pain in my back, which I know was what they were used for, but it just helped me not stress about anything, and just you know, I didn't have to think about all of the shit that's going on.
So, so it sounds like, you know, your parents and stuff, you feel like there's some expectation there for you to be a really good student. Tell me a little more about that. What that's been like for you growing up.
It's just been rough because it's like I can't, like you know, my parents tried everything. Like they tried to get me tutors, and I was taking Ritalin for a while, you know, when I was younger. But then my mom became like really holistic all of a sudden and like decided that like pills and medications were bad, and
Yeah.
I think it had something to do with her job and like just being being like a scientist and stuff. Like she just, so yeah, she took me off Ritalin, even though I think that the Ritalin helped like personally, but she just got all freaked out.
So almost it sounds like she maybe took away something that was helping you cope with the ADHD. Did
Yeah.
you guys at the time when she decided to stop you from using that medication, how did you guys make that decision? And how old were you when that happened?
I was maybe like 13.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and no, there was just one day where we were meeting with my guidance counselor, and one of my teachers, and we were all just sitting there, and we were just talking about like my like whatever that thing's called, my
Yeah, the
IEP,
IEP, yeah.
or, and you know, we were talking about like what was working and what wasn't, and my mom's just like, I'm done with this medication, because I was kind of like I remember she was concerned that I just like would be up like all night, like that was one of the things that the medication did to me. It would just make me like not go to bed at like a normal time. So
when you guys decided, well, when mom decided to kind of stop you on the medication, was there anything to kind of take its place? Did you guys try any other types of stuff to help out, or?
I mean, she just like kept up with like the tutoring, like she paid for tutors, and you know, she would help me with my homework sometimes. She would always make me stay after school, or make me ask my teachers if I could stay after school, and so yeah, like stuff like that. I mean, that was pretty much it. She
So it sounds like there wasn't too much of a transition between, you know, from the medication to some other kind of coping skill to kind of help you deal with that.
No.
So it's, what I'm hearing you say is that, you know, having you try and stay after school and get extra help was kind of a solution for her, but do you feel like that was really a very good solution for you?
No, because I feel like it was really helping me for a while. Like I was really concentrated. Like, and actually, like that stuff actually made me like enjoy what I was learning, which was really weird. Like I'll never forget. Like it was like a week after I had been on it pretty consistently, and I remember I was reading a book about, oh my gosh, what was it? It was something that like normally I would think was kind of boring. I think it was something about like the Civil War, but I remember I was just like so into it, and I really felt like that medication was like the reason for why I was so into it, and I liked that because I liked to, because if like I'm enjoying what I'm learning, then obviously I'm gonna like.
Were you doing
do
better in
well.
school at the time?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're associating, I mean, this is what I'm hearing anyway, associating that moment of, you know, really enjoying what you're learning, you know, with having that coping mechanism of having that medication that's helping you be a better student. Does that sound pretty accurate?
Definitely.
What were your grades like at that time? Did they change after you went off the medication?
After I went off the medication, yeah, I went back down to like C's and stuff. So like for a while, so like before I started the medication, I was like getting D's and stuff, which was awful. And then when I went on the Ritalin, I was getting like B's, B pluses.
That's great.
And then when I went off, I just kind of like I still tried, and like I was trying a little bit harder, so I think that's why I was able to like at least not go from like B's to D's, but B's to C's.
How did you feel about being taken off the medication? What were your feelings like at that time? If you can kind of take yourself back there. I know it was probably 7, 8 years ago now at least, but if you can take yourself back to that moment, what kind of things did you feel right after that? What kind of emotions?
I was just like frustrated that my mom didn't really like ask me like what I wanted. Like I think she's just one of these people, like, and I don't know, like I said, it might have to do with her job, but she's always, like, reading something up in the news or reading about some new update, like, oh, like, you know, this medication's, like, really bad, or, like, you know, she was saying something like how, like, yeah, like, so she pretty much said to me, I get that the medication helps you, but, like, 20 years from now, like, this could destroy your liver, like, this could cause all these problems, blah, blah, blah. So that's when, so yeah, and then she just made the choice on her own, like, she didn't really ask me, like, what I wanted, and that was frustrating.
So it sounds like you kind of had some power taken away from you.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, the power to have something that really helped you, you know, cope with, you know, with having ADHD, which can be really, really tough for a lot of kids. So, you're in college now. How was that for you going through high school and then being able to get into college? You must have had to work pretty hard to.
Yeah. I had my mom hired, like, a college, like, I don't know, like a college coach or something, or just somebody to come and, like, help me with all the applications, and you know, it was a long process. Like, I, like, redid my essay, like, a bunch of times. Like, I wanted to make sure it was perfect. You know, I retook the SATs a couple of times too, just to make my score higher. So yeah, like, when I got in, I felt good, but it was, like, barely. It was like I got into kind of like a special kind of program at my school. So it wasn't like the real school. It was more of like a prep, like, kind of thing. And then, like, once my grades, like, would get a little bit higher, then I could move to, like, the regular college, which hasn't happened yet. But so yeah, I mean, it felt good to at least get something in the mail that said, like, you're accepted, like, congratulations, you've been accepted. Like, I never thought I would see that.
Sounds like you put a lot of hard work in to get there. That's really impressive, and I hope, you know, you feel proud of yourself for that. What did that feel like when you got in? You know, when you were able to see that and realize all that work had paid off. What did that feel like for you? What did that feel like for your family? Kind of, how was that experience?
It felt good. I mean, my dad was like, I don't know. My dad was like, oh, good, but I don't think he thought it was anything special. I mean, he went to MIT. I mean, he, like, you know, my sister ended up at Yale, so he wasn't, I'm sure he was glad that I got in somewhere, but, and then my mom was happy, I remember. My mom was like, oh, good job. She's always been a little bit more encouraging, like, a little bit more kind of sympathetic of, like, you know, dealing with ADHD and stuff. And then I was dealing with a lot of, like, bullies at the time too, and it just, so she was always kind of more there for me than my dad was, but yeah.
Sounds like you're pretty close to Mom.
Yeah, in some ways. Like, you know, I know she loves me, I know she cares about me. She can just be a little bit, I don't know, she just kind of, like, does things, makes decisions for me without really asking. Like, she was the one who, like, picked all the colleges that I was going to apply to, and said, like, no, you need to do this, this, and this. So it's like I'm close with her, because, like, I know I know that she cares, but she can just be, like, really controlling sometimes.
Yeah, it sounds like, from what you're describing to me, that Mom has a lot of control over your decisions and, you know, what kind of path you go down. So, let's kind of get back to the injury and what happened. So at that point, I mean, I can't imagine you had a whole lot of control, you know, and you hurt yourself pretty severely. Tell me a little more about, you said it was an accident that caused that?
Yeah, no. They said I almost actually, like, even, I don't remember it because I feel like I completely blacked out, but I just got tackled from behind, and, you know, when I was, like, trying to make a pass to my teammate, and I just, like, hit the ground so hard, and what happened was there was, like, a rock, like, kind of like a sharp rock, and it was upward. It was on the ground, and it was, like, pointing upward, and, like, it just, like, went, like, right through, like, my back, and I just totally blacked out, and then I woke up in the hospital the next day.
Wow.
So that's all I really remember.
It must be really hard for someone who's used to, you know, exercising and, you know, playing sports, and to suddenly not, you know, not have much that you can do physically. What kind of
Mhm.
stuff did you do while you were in recovery? I know you said you're walking again now and
Mhm.
doing things, which must be wonderful. What kind of stuff did you do? Like both school, if you were able to do schoolwork or downtime, or how did you keep yourself busy?
Yeah, my mom, I did a lot of, school, my mom and my teachers would send work, to the hospital and stuff. I would do a lot of drawing. I would do, at the hospital they had, this, art class, during the day, and I would, go to the art class.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to music. Sometimes my mom would come and pick me up from the hospital and, take me out for the day, the beach or something. I do a lot of writing too. I'm not really good at writing, but I kept a journal of kind of the whole what every day at the hospital looked like, and I wrote down everybody who visited me and what time and what day, and it wasn't a lot of people who I don't have a very big family, but my grandparents came and a couple of my uncles, some friends. A while.
Great. Yeah. Sounds like you had some pretty good support.
Yeah.
At that point. So, what about after you get out of the hospital and we're kind of able to be a little more physically active and stuff? I want to try and understand a little more how you got from, recovering from this incident, or I'm sorry, from the accident, recovering from that, to a point of using medication to kind of cope. I'd love it if you could kind of maybe give me a little more of a picture of, how it went from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
If you could tell me a little more about that, what life has been like, kind of transitioning from being injured to being well again.
Yeah.
Give me a picture of school, friends, family, anything.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of. I just gotta take a minute to really think about when it all started. It's all such a blur now, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yep, things can be kind of fuzzy when we're using, substances to work on emotional pain. It does work, but unfortunately it also ends up getting a lot of people addicted and, feeling out of control, and, we lose a lot of that mental control that we have over things.
Mhm.
So yeah, just take some time and let me know when you feel ready to talk about it.
Right now, I just feel like I want to sleep.
You feel physically tired? Mentally tired?
Both.
Both.
I guess. I remember when I was discharged from the hospital, I went home and I was out of school for, maybe 3 or 4 weeks just to kind of get recovered a little bit. And and I remember starting school again and just having a really hard time getting back into the swing of things. I didn't really want to see anybody. I didn't want to hang out with my friends or get to know anybody. I wasn't really motivated to do any work.
Mhm.
And so then that's when my grades started slipping. But I remember at the hospital how I remember when they prescribed me the Oxycontin. It was Oxycontin, I think. It was just such a crazy sensation, the way that I would be in so much pain, but then that one pill, it just took away everything. And I guess I was, when I got out of the hospital and I was spending some time at home, I had so much on my mind. It wasn't even physical anymore, because I wasn't even really in any much more physical pain at that point, but it was more of just thinking I'm not going to be able to play football for a really long time, and that's the one thing that I always felt like I was good at. And
So kind of what I'm hearing you say is that you came home and it was kind of a tough transition back into school, and and then once that kind of physical pain started to subside, you had some time on your hands because you weren't able to play football, and kind of started, thinking about the reality of that, and that this thing that you love so much is kind of taken away from you for a while.
That
sounds pretty tough.
That's exactly right. You got that that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, that can be one of the toughest things, is when one of the greatest joys we have in life is just taken from us and we have no control over that. No, you know.
When I was thinking the whole time that the OxyContin would like I know that it's meant to take away the physical pain, but I thought that like maybe it would take my mind off of everything else too, because and then it just all started when I started learning like at school like where to get it, and because my prescription ran out and I couldn't get another prescription obviously, but I did research and found out like where to get it, who to get it from. I'm not really proud of this, but I even learned about how like this guy that I used to, one of my dealers, he was trying to teach me a way to like write fake prescriptions or something so that I could go to the doctor, and he told me that like one time he like went to the doctor's for just like a standard physical whatever, and he like stole a prescription pad like with the doctor's name on it and the doctor's telephone number, and it looked like a real prescription. He would just write on it, and I mean I don't know if I would ever have the balls to do that on my own, but yeah, I mean I know it's not good, but it's like whatever it takes to get that fixed.
So you've been yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just once, I don't know, like I get why people do things like that though, like why they commit crimes and stuff when it has to do with drugs, because it's like you can't function without it. Like I wake up in the morning and I can't even stand to be in my own body, and I can't stand to think about just having nothing ahead of me. Like that's just the thing. Because I can't play football, I can't, like I know that I'm not gonna like graduate or at least on time. I mean, I'm not saying ever, but I'm saying like I know that I'm not going to be successful anytime soon, and having to think about that is just like what makes me crazy, and I need to take my mind off of it.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a lot of things on your plate right now, kind of making sure you're fully physically healed and getting back to that place, keeping on top of schoolwork, kind of dealing with all these emotions that you have surrounding, getting injured and not being able to do something you love. It's a lot for one person to kind of handle at one time. And then also the knowledge that you've been using, medication that was meant for your pain to kind of deal with those emotional issues you've been having, following the accident. And so what I'm hearing is that you're kind of at like a bit of a stuck point.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say that you're kind of fed up with things. Is that pretty accurate?
Mhm.
Looking to make maybe some changes. What if you could wake up tomorrow and everything would be different? What would things look like for you in terms of your school situation, in terms of your use of medication, family relationships, anything? What would that look like for you if you could kind of just make everything the way you want it?
I would just probably I don't know, I mean I wish I could turn back time and just maybe not have, I mean not that I would ever miss a football game, or I would, but I almost wish I like didn't play in that game because it wouldn't have happened, you know what I mean?
I think it's pretty common to kind of wish we could turn back the clock and avoid a mistake or avoid an occurrence or something that happened that's changed us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not something we can really do. We can't, believe me, there's plenty of things I'd like to go back and change, but since we can't do that, let's look forward a little bit to the future. Like, what would things look like if you were able to wake up tomorrow and just have kind of a clean slate, especially with looking at the pills and stuff? How would things look for you now?
I'd probably be just playing football, and well, I mean I know that's not an option right now.
But it could be, potentially, if you're healthy.
Yeah, I'd be healthy, and I'd be doing well in school, and my mom would be proud, and my dad would be proud, and I would just be, maybe I would get like an internship or something.
Mhm.
And I would just feel good, like I would wake up and not feel like I like I can't function. You know, I don't know. I would just like, you know, reach out to my friends and just go out on the weekends and studying.
Sounds like you're kind of looking for a return to normalcy. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I want to return to normalcy, but you know, but I also want something to look forward to. Like I want to do something that's going to give me, you know, hope. Like, you know, because I feel like so many people I know, especially being in college, they're like, I have these internships and I'm going to be doing this. Like once I graduate, then I'm going to go to grad school and then I'm going to like move into this apartment and, you know, I just want a goal. I want something to like reach for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really important to have a kind of goal in sight that's keeping us on track.
Yeah.
What are your goals right now? What are your kind of hopes for the future with an internship? And I know you said you want to make your parents proud and feel proud of yourself. What would that look like for you?
I'd be clean, and you know, maybe I'd get my own apartment, so I don't have to live at home and just be a burden to my parents. You know, I'd have a girlfriend maybe. I've never had a girlfriend, but maybe I'd have one. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'd get an internship at like maybe like a rehab place, like not like for drugs or whatever.
I know what
but
you mean. Yeah, like physical rehab.
Because I want to like maybe help people who have, you know, been in accidents and stuff.
A lot of people who are in the degree programs that you're in end up going into sports rehab, sports medicine, things like that. Sounds like that might be a really good fit for you based on everything you've told me. You know, you're saying you want to help people, and you sound pretty passionate about sports and about, you know, well-being, and, you know, struggling right now. I can imagine that makes that extra hard, you know, because these are being physically fit and having all that in your life is such a passion for you. So to be in a spot where you kind of feel like trapped and you can't really do a whole lot. So by coming to me, what's kind of your biggest hope for coming out of going to therapy? Like a small goal, really. Like what?
I just want to learn how to. I just want to get clean and not rely on drugs and feel good again without having to do drugs, and I want, you know, to just like get back to school and just stop bullshitting and stop wasting time. And I just like I have these goals, but I don't have the motivation right now, because it's like, and I mean it's so much easier said than done. I can say I want all these things, but there's nothing that compares to like that feeling that these pills give me. Like like I would rather be like numb and just not even think, rather than like thinking about a future that might not even be realistic. I don't know.
It's a really powerful statement there. You said that you just said that I'd almost rather be numb than to think about a future that might not even be possible.
Yeah.
What were you feeling when you said that? Like, what kind of emotions came up?
Just like a total, like just defeat, like just complete, like bottom of the barrel, like just nothingness. Like I don't know. I just feel very
empty.
Yeah.
Are those the kind of emotions that come up when you feel like using? Those are really, really difficult emotions for people to deal with. I mean, there's hundreds of different things you can feel on any given day, but I find that with people I work with, and even with myself, some of those tougher ones to deal with out of all those emotions that you could possibly have is feeling kind of hopeless. Sometimes it's even worse than feeling sad or depressed, because when you feel like there's no, you know, you feel stuck and like maybe there's no way to change and there's really no way out of where you're at. That can be a really bleak feeling, and one that's really hard to tolerate for a lot of people. What I would like to do, if you're open to it, is to try and maybe think, you know, we can start small. and try maybe think of some ways that you can take care of your body and take care of your mind a little bit better. And once we start kind of implementing those into daily life, you'll maybe find yourself feeling better, and hopefully that desire to use will go down. I'd also like to help you try and find some pretty specific substance abuse treatment. Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, definitely.
There are some groups that I know of that are really great groups, like Narcotics Anonymous, NA.
Mhm.
You familiar with that at all?
Yeah, I've heard.
Those are pretty good groups. And after maybe next time I see you, we can do a little more work on, finding out a little more about the substance abuse aspect, so we can figure out where would be a good place to start you out with that. But so basically, there's a technique. It's called Please Master, and it's an acronym that basically helps us look at ways we take care of our body and our mind when we're feeling stressed, and we're feeling kind of overwhelmed by emotions. So basically, it's a little acronym. I'm going to go through it with you, and we can kind of talk about step by step. Talk about how we can get you on the right page with all of these things. So the first one for P is physical illness. So if any physical illnesses or chronic illnesses are present, it's important to get proper treatment so you're not having any physical discomfort or pain. So I know you said you're not really in pain anymore. Have you tried, or at any point, have you been off the medication at all?
No.
Or has it been pretty steady since?
Pretty steady.
So, if you're taking something pretty constantly that, kills that pain by virtue of its function, you don't necessarily know if you're still having pain. There might be a chance that you could still have something going on physically that you're not aware of because you're taking something that kind of blocks those receptors.
Yeah.
What kind of other stuff do you do? Have you done physical therapy? Like, what kind of stuff have you done to...
I do physical therapy twice a week. My physical therapist recommended I go get massages too, like once a week. So I do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
What kind of massage? Do you know if it's like specific techniques or anything like that?
It's something that has to do with, it's like good for people with like back injuries and stuff. It's like a special type, so it's good.
That's pretty good. So it sounds like you're doing other stuff to really take care of your body too.
Yeah.
PT and massage. What else? Is there anything else that you do? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know a whole lot about injuries, so you're the expert here.
I mean, I do the exercises that my doctor tells me to do, like at home a couple of times a week. Like, he says that I should try to walk as much as possible. So I'll go for walks like around the block and stuff. And I'll lift weights sometimes, at home. So.
That's a really positive thing to hear, actually, that you've been, able to keep doing those exercises and taking walks around the block and lifting weights and stuff. It's nice to hear that, especially since you said earlier how sleepy you've been feeling and kind of just not motivated. So I think you should be really proud of yourself that you're able to get out and do those things. That's a lot when you're feeling, hopeless and kind of overwhelmed. So it's wonderful you're able to take care of yourself like that. How do you feel when you do those things, like lifting weights or taking a walk? How do you feel afterwards?
I feel alright, but I don't know if it's the fact that, I don't know if that's actually making me feel okay, or if it's just the fact that I took a pill, because I still kind of feel like a numbness, so when when I'm doing the exercise and stuff, it does feel good, but at the same time, I don't know, I don't know if it's just the pill talking, you know what I mean?
It's understandable to kind of question that.
But I think it feels good. I mean, I like the idea of me, doing something rather than just, taking a pill and just, laying in my bed or something. So
mentally, even if maybe it's hard to feel the emotions connected with it, sounds like mentally you have a pretty good awareness that doing that stuff is good for you.
Yeah.
And that it brings you, pleasure and feeling good. And it's good that you do all that. It's an excellent step, and I feel like going forward, especially as we work on getting you some treatment for substance abuse, that'll be a really helpful thing, exercise and movement. The other second part of it is eating. It's really important for our mental, physical health to be eating kind of regular intervals, having several meals a day, and putting good food in our body. Tell me a little bit more about what your diet's like what kind of looks like for you.
I don't eat breakfast. Like, I wake up in the morning and I have no appetite. Normally I'll wait to maybe like even like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, I won't eat until then. And I don't really eat, like, I eat pizza, chicken fingers. I don't eat vegetables at all. I don't eat fruit. I'm not really the healthiest. I mean, back when I was like playing football and stuff, like, I used to do like the protein drinks and the veggies and because like my coach said that we had to and stuff, but since I'm not really going to be playing football anytime soon, I just didn't really see the point of like eating healthy. Like, I can like force down like vegetables and stuff if I have to.
So you were it sounds like you were kind of doing that, keeping up those dietary needs more for football, but maybe now that you're not sure if you're going to be able to do that, it's kind of less important to you.
Yeah.
And what if we thought about it that, it's especially important for football, it's especially important to keep up your health and to be having those good foods in your body for athletics, but it's also good for just your body in general and good for your mind too.
Yeah.
When we're making sure that we get those right vitamins and nutrients into our body, that feeds the brain, that kind of feeds those circuits that are able to, make our brain and body feel better. What would be like a small goal that you would have as far as eating? I know you mentioned that you sometimes don't eat till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you also mentioned kind of the quality of the stuff that you're eating isn't great. What's some improvements that you might be able to make that could have a chance to make you feel a little better physically, mentally?
You can probably have like a banana in the morning or something. I used to like bananas. Maybe eating or if I order pizza for myself or whatever, maybe I can like order something healthier, like a salad or something. I would have to force it down though. Like, it wouldn't be like, I don't really want to do that, but.
Do you feel like you've had a loss of appetite? When you say force it down, what do you mean? Is it more of a mental or a physical thing?
It's just more, I guess, of physical. Like, I just don't like the taste of like greens or like, so it's like, I'll try to eat stuff if I know that I have to, like if I know that it's good for me, but it's
What
just.
was it like? What was the motivation? Now I know you said your coach had you eating pretty healthy before. What if you were to think about it in the same way you thought about it then, that it's got a purpose to it? That seemed to motivate you quite a bit, like when you were playing football.
Yeah.
How did you kind of look at the eating healthy at that point? Because you said you didn't mind doing it at that point. So like, what kind of thought process got you feeling pretty comfortable with eating healthy?
Well, just the fact that my coach said that it would make us better, faster, stronger players, which is true. But like, again, since football isn't in the cards right now, it's just like it just doesn't seem like a point. And like, especially since I'm like flunking out of the program I'm in right now, like my major is like exercise science and all that, but since I'm flunking out, I feel like there's no point. And like, I feel like maybe if I was doing well in that program, like, I would be eating healthier, because it's like that's what we learn about in that program. We learn about how to eat healthy, but since I'm not really like invested in that right now.
Well, it's interesting that I hear you saying that, about how it's easier to kind of be motivated to eat healthy knowing that you have football on the horizon and that it makes you better, faster, and stronger, and also that, being part of that program, that's kind of what it's about, is putting, good things in and having good things come out in terms of, the outcome of what's going on with school. And I wonder if you were to think about it in the way of that that's a step to getting back there. because what your coach said about, you know, it'll make you better, faster, stronger players, that kind of holds true in general. And putting good foods into your body is going to make you better, stronger, faster. You know, it might help heal any kind of lingering stuff that's going on from your injury, and it'll certainly help give you fuel as we're trying to get you, you know, off medication and back to a more normal quality of life.
Yeah.
So maybe eating in the morning was something you said. And what else? Like having salad, ordering salad instead?
Mhm. Maybe a protein shake. I used to love the taste
yeah,
of a protein shake.
that was the other thing I was going to mention was I feel like that's something the people I know who do that are all really into fitness. Me, I'm more of like a salad kind of vegetable person.
Mhm.
But a lot of people I know who are really into fitness and working out will do the protein shakes. I see it on Facebook all the time and stuff. So what kind of protein shakes do you usually like? Do you have a specific like brand or flavor? Or?
Anything chocolate.
Chocoholic.
Mhm.
So if you were to order some of those or go buy some of those and start incorporating that back into your diet, do you think that might have a little improvement? How do you think you might feel mentally about that?
Probably better, but then at the same time it would kind of remind me of like back when we used to like prep and train for football, and you know, like I get it, like I get that it's healthy, but I don't know. I don't really know if I see the point. Like, I don't know, is it gonna do you think that me doing stuff like that long term is gonna like make me like feel better like down the line?
You know, I mean, no one can guarantee anything. But I do think that when we make healthier choices for ourselves, we put ourselves directly in that path of getting the goals that we want. You know, I know, and from what you've told me, you know that what you're doing right now, you know, unfortunately, you know, being more dependent on pain meds, you know, that's not a condition that you can play football in. But if we're kind of working on mind and body and doing these things to get both of those things back aligned, you know, and in a good place, and trying to use those things that are so important for football, like, you know, it's important to get rest, it's important to be physically well and eating well. Those things also apply to kind of feeling good mentally too. And I think that if we can get you to a place where you're really doing all that upkeep, it's really going to put you back in that place that will get you ready, you know. I can't give you, say, you know, you'll be able to play by June, you know, but I can say that I'm sure if we're able to commit to this and, you know, get your body feeling better, that those things will come back a lot faster.
Yeah.
Let's look at a couple more aspects before we end today. So one of the other principles of the Please Master is not using mood-altering substances, which I know that's something you're struggling with right now. So like I said, next time we meet, I would love to try and set you up with some better resources for substance abuse. I'm glad to hear that you're interested in it, and I'm proud of you for coming in today. It can take a lot of courage to talk about that. How are you sleeping? That's something else I wanted to ask about.
I stay up until like 3 or 4, just like playing Call of Duty or like, and then I sleep until like 2 or 3 the next day, so.
Sounds like you're getting a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
So like 12 hours a night. Do you think it's good sleep, or are you waking up a lot?
I sleep through the night because I feel like the meds kind of sometimes knock me out, but sometimes it's weird, they get me like really wired. Other times, like, I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, I sleep through the night, but I wake up like really groggy, and really like I kind of like I have like a headache, and it's just like that feeling like of sleeping too much. It's like you just have aches and pains, but then I take another pill and I'm fine, so it's just a never-ending cycle.
I know for most people, kind of like 7 to 8-ish hours is pretty much a normal amount of sleep. How much were you getting before you were injured? What was your sleep like then?
Like 10 maybe.
So also, that's pretty normal for athletes too, I think. I think for the rest of us, kind of mere mortals, it's easy to get 7 or 8 hours, but when you're working your body really hard, you know, 9 or 10 is probably a lot more appropriate. Do you think you'd be willing to work on kind of getting back to a more normal sleep schedule, like going to bed at a similar time as before? and then kind of
Maybe.
waking up a little earlier.
Maybe, yeah.
That way you'd also be kind of having the opportunity to have a morning meal if you're waking up a little bit earlier, even like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then, kind of going to bed a little bit earlier, you're kind of getting your sleep cycle back to where it used to be. And that'll increase your energy overall, make you a little less tired.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was exercise, and that's something we already touched on a little bit. You were telling me that you're doing walks around the block, stuff like that, and doing these stretches, lifting weights. So it sounds like you've already actually got that part of it down pat. I think it's wonderful you're doing all this stuff to take care of yourself.
Thanks.
I know it must be really hard right now.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're really motivated to kind of get on the right track, and I'm happy that you came in to talk today. And
Thanks, me too.
I look forward to meeting with you again soon and kind of helping you get on the right track to recovering mentally and physically.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you later.
See you later.